Okay, now we are going to start talking about
Hi.
cities in Chapter
Hi.
9, Section 3.
Hi. Hi.
Hey, one more thing.
Hi,
Yeah.
Dad.
When you have the stereo on at the same
Hi.
time as the TV,
Hi.
how do you control the volume on the TV? Why do you want to listen to the TV with the stereo on?
Hi.
Because I like to party. You know what, man? Why am I still talking to you? Come on, we were doing good there, man. Taking care of your house, good.
Dad.
I keep snapping back into it. It's like a trick you're pulling on me. All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow. You know, I was thinking though.
Okay, so our objectives for Section 3. What is a city and what services do city governments provide for their residents? How are city governments established and what are the different types of city governments and their functions? So, first,
Hey there, boy. Man, you got big. How long's it been? 3, 4 months?
10 years.
10 years. Man, I got to lay off the peyote.
Hi, Dad.
I got a message for all of them, right?
First of all, what is a city? Cities are larger than other local groups. Now, depending on what source you use, you're going to find different definitions as to what a city is. But really, for our purposes in this class, and really probably one of the easiest ones that there is out there, is we're going to use the one that I've used for quite a while, and that is determining what a city is by terms of its population. And so we're going to say that for this class, a city is any place that has more than 50,000 people in it. So, with that being said, with that being our criteria, how many cities are there in Nebraska and what are they? I'm going to pause this for a little bit and you need to, as a class, figure out what are the cities in Nebraska. What are they? So I'm going to go ahead and pause this for a little bit. Okay, did we get them figured out? Well, there's two that should be pretty easy. There should be pretty easy, and that's Omaha and Lincoln. Omaha has close to 450,000 people, and really, if you kind of take the outlying areas around Omaha, Elkhorn, Gretna, Ralston, Papillion, La Vista, you're probably looking at 500,000 people, over 500,000 people. And in Lincoln is over 300,000 people. Those two are pretty obvious. They're pretty easy. The other two, and these other two are a little more difficult. Um, the third largest city in Nebraska is actually the city of Bellevue. Bellevue lies just to the south of Omaha. Um, it is, just over 50,000 people. Some would even say that it is a suburb of Omaha, and you can definitely have suburbs that are very large in size. You can go to Kansas City, for example. Independence, Missouri is a suburb of Kansas City, and Independence, Missouri has 125,000 people in it, and yet it is considered a suburb of Kansas City. Long Beach, California is considered a suburb of Los Angeles. Long Beach, California is one of the 50 largest cities in the United States. So, small cities can be suburbs of large cities. And then the other one is Grand Island. Now, if you drive through Grand Island, I drove through Grand Island probably not more than maybe a month and a half ago. And when you drive through the city, of course, right as you're entering it, there's that green sign and it says what the population is. It says the population of Grand Island's 49,000, or actually I think it's 49,850 people or something like that. Or maybe it's 48,950 people, but regardless, we know they take a census every 10 years, so the last census would have been done in 2010. I'm sure Grand Island, enough people have moved into the city, babies being born and whatnot, all that combination, that it has more than 50,000 people. And when they do the next census in 2020, and then they go to put the new signs up that Grand Island's going to be over 50,000. So there's the four cities that we have in Nebraska. And I know some of you are probably thinking Norfolk, Fremont, Hastings, North Platte. Actually, those places aren't even close. They're all between 20 and 25,000. The next largest city that we have in Nebraska is actually Kearney, and Kearney has about 33,000 people. So really, it's really not even close. Even when you throw in during the school year when UNK is in session, then Kearney is just over 40,000. So still, really, we only have three, I guess what you would call legit cities in Nebraska. Okay, so now it's like it says, they often have large populations crowded into a small area, and some of the things they have to deal with education, health, safety, transportation, sanitation, water supply, and fire and police protection. When it comes to education, we're talking about like here in Pierce, we have a board of education, and these individuals, they do this on a volunteer basis, and being a member of the Pierce Board of Education is, kind of part-time. I mean, sometimes it might feel like full-time work, but you don't get paid for it. It's something that you do. If you are on the Board of Education in a large city, that is your job. Um, when it comes to health and safety, you look at the number of hospitals that large cities are going to have. Omaha has something like 6 different hospitals, and these are not small hospitals by any means. They are large hospitals. The medical center, the University of Omaha Medical Center, is like a mini city in and of itself. Lincoln has multiple hospitals. If Bellevue wasn't so close to Omaha, it would have multiple hospitals as well. And then Grand Island. Now, Grand Island might be the exception. I believe Grand Island only has one hospital, but it is a very large hospital. Then you're talking about safety. Here in good old Pierce, Nebraska, we have what, like a whopping 3 or 4 police officers in the entire city or town of Pierce. Norfolk, yeah, they have a police department, and then they actually have some detectives, but those detectives cover everything. You go to Omaha, in Omaha, within their police department, you're going to have a group of detectives. Their job is they work burglaries, houses getting broken into. You have another department. Their job is simply working cars that are getting stolen. Then you have another department, another unit. They work just with the gang unit. Then you have the homicide unit. Um, you have, their police department is actually broken down, and you're going to see the same thing in Lincoln when it comes to, and then they have their own fire departments. Nebraska does boast one of the largest volunteer fire departments in the entire United States. So, again, I'm going to pause this and I'm going to give you a couple minutes to talk amongst yourself and see what town in Nebraska has one of the largest volunteer fire departments in the entire United States. Okay, pause now. Okay, so do we think we know what it is? It is Kearney. Kearney has one of the largest volunteer fire departments in the United States. Transportation, and I've mentioned this before, you go to Omaha and Lincoln, they have their own city bus system, buses that are going to take you all over the city. And there's multiple taxi companies in each one of those. Norfolk, they have one business that has, the taxi business, and really that's about it. And then sanitation. Most places, most towns, the city does a lot of that. More and more places, more towns are contracting this out to individuals who own their own sanitation business. You go to Omaha, for example, and in Omaha, um, Omaha actually divides up by recyclables. You're going to have one container you're going to put paper in, another one you're going to put aluminum in if you don't recycle it yourself, another one you're going to put glass in, another one if it's that time of the year where you're mowing your yard and you're bagging it, then you're going to put that in bags, and then you have yet another one, and that's like your actual garbage. And when the truck comes, it actually goes into separate compartments in the truck, so that way some of this stuff can be recycled, and so it's saving a lot of space in our landfills. And then fire and police protection, we already covered a little bit of that. But you think about some of the other services that need to be provided in these larger communities. Like, for example, you go to, again, like an Omaha or Lincoln, and if there's a stray animal in a neighborhood, they actually have animal control. I think Norfolk might even have animal control. Here in Pierce, Nebraska, you call the police department, hey, there's a stray dog running around, barking, growling at people. Who are they going to call? Does anyone know? Does anyone know here in Pierce if that happens, who they're going to call? It's not Ghostbusters. But again, I'm going to pause this for a couple seconds, and you try to figure out amongst yourself, who are they going to call if there's a stray animal wandering the streets of Pierce, Nebraska, USA? Okay, have we figured it out? They're going to call the vet. The vet is kind of like, I guess you want to say, our version of animal control. Now, if the vet's not around, because oftentimes they might be treating an animal out somewhere, they might be vaccinating someone's cattle, then it would be up to the police department. The vet's usually going to be a little more careful and maybe not as forceful as police might be, but vets are animal people. And then it comes with water supply. The majority of places in Nebraska get their water for the towns and cities. They get it from the ground. But there are a few places, a few towns in Nebraska, they get their water from a different source. And that's mainly going to be a river. Um, Omaha, they get their water from the Missouri River. I believe Plattsmouth gets their water from the Missouri River. And I think even South Sioux City gets their water from the Missouri River as well.
Absolutely, ma'am. I'd love to sign your baby. You know,
Okay, I just opened my pop. I'm drinking a pop right now, and you're not. That tastes really good. Okay, when it comes to city governments, cities start to get big enough that they need to expand on what it is that they are providing for the people. So what city governments will do is, just like when a group of people applied to the state legislature for a charter, well, now what's going to happen is they're going to apply back to the state legislature, but they're going to apply for what is called home rule. And what home rule does is it allows a city to rewrite and amend, and remember the word amend means change, to rewrite and amend their own charter. So now they realize, a city the size that we are, these are some of the special services that we need to provide for our people that we were unable to do so before. So now they can make their charter, so instead of making it kind of a one size fits all type of charter, now it's geared specifically towards them. Okay, I am going to stop this video lecture on chapter 9 section 3 right now, and then you will watch chapter 9 section 3 part 2 video.